The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the distress beacon pierced through the quantum relay network. Ambassador Thakal's crystalline appendages trembled as she recognized the signature. It was a Valerian colony ship, carrying 12,000 souls, under attack by the Kravoth swarm near the outer reach. "The nearest Council peacekeeping fleet is 47 cycles away," announced High Arbitrator Zunma, his multifaceted eyes dimming with resignation. The holographic display showed the Valerian vessel, its shields flickering against the relentless assault of biomechanical horrors that had plagued the galaxy for centuries. Thakal's hearts sank. The Valerians were herbivorous traders, utterly defenseless against predators. Their ship would be consumed within hours, adding 12,000 more victims to the swarm's incomprehensible hunger. "There is one possibility," whispered Council Observer Nixari, a serpentine being whose species had survived by avoiding conflict for millennia. "The human fleet completed their patrol rotation 3 standard days ago. According to their last transmission, they're in Sector 7G. The chamber erupted in concerned clicks, whistles, and electromagnetic pulses. Humans, the newest council members, approved just 2 cycles prior after decades of observation. A species that had somehow clawed its way from a predator-filled death world to the stars, carrying with them instincts that made most council members deeply uncomfortable. They're only 6 cycles away," Nixari continued, his voice barely audible. "Absolutely not," thundered Arbitrator Zunma. "Humans are unstable. Their military vessels are flying weapons platforms. Have you seen their fleet composition? Dreadnoughts, carriers, destroyers. They name their ships after battles and predators. And the Valerians will die if we do nothing," Thakal said quietly, her voice cutting through the chaos. "I moved to request human assistance. The vote was closer than it should have been, but desperation won." Captain Marcus Chen stood on the bridge of the UHNS Indomitable, his second cup of coffee cooling in his hand as the distress call echoed through the comm system. Around him, his crew moved with practiced efficiency, their faces hardening as the situation became clear. "Kravoth swarm," his XO reported. "Estimates put it at 40 to 50 bioships. The Valerian colony transport has maybe an hour before hull breach." Marcus set down his coffee. "Sound general quarters. Signal the relentless Thunderchild in Midway. Formation Delta 7. Maximum burn, I want us there in 5 hours, not 6. Sir." The Council specifically requested we observe caution. "The Council," Marcus interrupted, his voice like steel, "is 47 cycles away. We're right here. Helm, engage." The 4 human vessels accelerated, their fusion drives burning at 110% capacity, pushing the safety margins into the red. Inside the Indomitable, Marines checked their gear while fighter pilots ran pre-flight sequences. Throughout the ship, humanity prepared to do what it had always done when predators threatened the weak. Thakal watched the tactical display with growing horror and fascination. The human fleet hadn't simply answered the call. They'd broken multiple council regulations on maximum acceleration to arrive faster. Their 4 ships, absurdly small compared to council peacekeeping vessels, moved with predatory grace. "They're launching fighters," Nixari whispered. "Why would they launch fighters?" "The swarm bioships are massive," the answer came quickly. "The human fighters, they called them Valkyries, and didn't engage the bioships. Instead, they wove through the swarm formation like silver needles, their weapons targeting sensor clusters and propulsion nodes with surgical precision. They weren't trying to destroy. They were trying to blind and cripple." "Tactical doctrine," murmured military observer Caxthor, a 4-armed warrior species that prided itself on combat prowess. "They're not fighting like prey trying to survive. They're hunting." The human dreadnoughts opened fire, not the wide dispersal plasma weapons favored by council ships designed to minimize collateral damage. These were kinetic accelerators, mass drivers that hurled tungsten rods at a fraction of light speed. When they struck, bioships simply ceased to exist, torn apart by the sheer kinetic energy. The Midway launched its second wave, bombers carrying something the humans called Hellfire torpedoes. Nuclear weapons, Thakal realized with shock. Fusion warheads that the Council had banned as unnecessarily destructive. Against the swarm, they were devastatingly effective. Picking up human communications, the monitoring station reported. "Should I translate?" "Do it," Zunma ordered. The voice was calm, almost casual. Thunderchild, you've got 3 bioships trying to flank. Light them up. Relentless, form up on our port side. Let's show these bugs what happens when they pick on herbivores. Bugs. The humans called the nightmare swarm bugs. And they were treating this like routine pest control. 15 minutes. That's how long it took. The swarm, which had terrorized the outer reach for decades, which had consumed 17 colonies and millions of beings, broke. The surviving bioships scattered, fleeing into the dark between stars with the human fighters pursuing, until they hit the maximum safe pursuit range. The Indomitable pulled alongside the damaged Valerian transport, and Thakal watched as human damage control teams suited up to help with repairs, as human medical staff prepared to treat the wounded, as human supply ships began transferring food, water, and medical supplies. Council observer, Captain Chen's face appeared on the view screen looking tired but satisfied. The Valerians are secure. We'll escort them to their destination and then resume our patrol route. Chen out. The transmission ended before anyone could respond. They didn't even wait for acknowledgement, Nixari said, almost amused. Thakal watched the human fleet form up around the Valerian transport. Their predatory vessels now turned to protection, and she understood something the rest of the council was only beginning to grasp. Humanity were predators, yes. Born on a death world, evolved to hunt and fight and never surrender. But they had chosen to turn those instincts outward, to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. The galaxy's newest members weren't the danger. The council had feared. They were the guardians the galaxy had desperately needed. And the predators of the universe were about to learn what it meant to be prey.